Lyra, an alien with skin that shimmers under the alien sun, stumbles through a desolate, monster-infested world. Her own people have abandoned her here, considering her too frail for survival. She is filled with a mixture of fear and determination, trying to make sense of her harsh surroundings. The skies are blood-red, and jagged rocks make every step treacherous. Unknown creatures lurk, waiting to strike. Lyra stands frozen, her eyes fixed on the distant horizon, where the mysterious object disappeared in a cloud of dust. She wonders if it's a sign, a chance for escape, or perhaps even help. The thought of someone, anyone, else on this barren planet ignites a glimmer of hope. With a renewed sense of purpose, she begins to make her way toward the crash site, navigating the rocky terrain with a cautious, steady pace. The journey is grueling. Each step demands balance and focus as the landscape shifts unpredictably beneath her feet. The heat is suffocating, amplified by the crimson sky above, and her body aches from previous encounters with the planet's native creatures. Despite the discomfort, she pushes forward, the sight of that crash landing sparking her determination. Occasionally, she catches movement in the shadows, the faint scurry of claws or the quick flick of a tail. This planet has a pulse, and she's constantly reminded that it's hostile. As Lyra approaches a ravine, she pauses, carefully assessing her surroundings. The silence is eerie, broken only by the occasional rumble of distant thunder. Her instincts tell her she's being watched. She scans the cliffs above, expecting to see a predator lying in wait, but there's nothing. After a moment, she takes a deep breath and continues down the narrow path. Her heart races, her senses heightened to every sound, every shift in the air. Suddenly, a low growl echoes behind her. Lyra whirls around, heart pounding, as a monstrous creature emerges from the shadows. A towering beast with scaled skin and razor-sharp claws. Its eyes, like burning embers, lock onto her with predatory intent. Lyra knows she can't outrun it. Her only option is to stand her ground. She grabs a sharp rock, clenching it tightly, ready to defend herself. The creature lunges, and Lyra narrowly dodges, feeling the rush of air as its claws swipe inches from her face. She stumbles but quickly regains her footing, adrenaline surging through her veins. The beast circles her, wary but relentless, clearly intent on making her its next meal. In a moment of sheer desperation, Lyra notices a narrow crevice in the cliffside. She darts toward it, slipping into the cramped space just as the creature lunges again. Its massive claws scrape against the stone, unable to reach her. Safe, at least temporarily, she takes a shaky breath, her mind racing with thoughts of survival. After a tense few minutes, the beast loses interest, slinking back into the shadows. Lyra waits a little longer, ensuring the danger has passed, then cautiously steps out of her hiding spot. She knows she can't afford to waste time. That object she saw might be her only chance to survive on this brutal planet. As she resumes her journey, she finally catches sight of the crash site. Smoke rises from the wreckage, and debris is scattered across the rocky ground. The object is unlike anything she's seen before, sleek and metallic, with markings unfamiliar to her. Her heart races as she approaches, every instinct urging her to stay cautious. Just as she steps closer, the hatch of the object hisses open. Lyra's breath catches in her throat as a figure emerges, a human. The sight shocks her. She's heard of humans, but never encountered one in person. The human looks rugged, his expression wary but curious, and he raises his hand slowly, a universal gesture of peace. For a moment, neither moves, both studying each other in cautious silence. Finally, the human speaks, his voice steady and calm. "Are you stranded here too?" Lyra hesitates, then nods, her gaze never leaving his. The human's face softens, and a hint of understanding passes between them. Two strangers, abandoned in a hostile world, finding an unlikely connection in their shared struggle for survival. The human introduces himself as Captain Ilias Morgan, an explorer and researcher from a distant star system. He explains that his ship malfunctioned while orbiting this planet, forcing him to make a crash landing. Now, like Lyra, he is stranded, with no immediate way of contacting his people. As they stand amid the wreckage, Elias assesses the damage, his eyes narrowing as he evaluates the situation. "Looks like we're both stuck here," he says, a hint of resignation in his tone. He glances over at Lyra, who's still watching him with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. "But maybe we can help each other survive." Lyra considers his words, her mind racing with conflicting emotions. She's spent her life among her own people, where strength and resilience were prized above all else, and she was cast aside as weak. Yet here is this human, offering an alliance without hesitation. She wonders if he truly understands the dangers of this world, a place where survival depends on constant vigilance. Finally, she nods, extending her hand in a cautious gesture of agreement. Elias smiles faintly, his grip firm but respectful. This simple act of trust feels monumental to Lyra, as though she's taking the first step into an unknown but hopeful future. Together, they set off from the crash site, moving toward a sheltered outcrop where they can regroup and plan their next steps. The planet's atmosphere is thick and humid, making every breath feel heavy. As they walk, Elias keeps up a steady stream of conversation, sharing stories of his travels across different worlds. Lyra listens intently, fascinated by the vastness of the universe beyond her own limited experience. Their tentative peace is interrupted by a distant rumble, followed by a piercing shriek that echoes across the rocky plains. Lyra tenses immediately, recognizing the sound. Another predator, drawn to the scent of the crash. She turns to Elias, her voice urgent. "We need to hide. Now." They scramble up a rocky incline, finding cover among a cluster of large boulders. Lyra motions for Elias to stay low as the creature approaches. It's one of the planet's apex predators, a towering beast with armored scales and a maw full of razor-sharp teeth. Its movements are slow but purposeful, as if it knows its prey is near. Elias watches the creature in awe and fear, his hand instinctively reaching for the sidearm at his belt. Lyra shakes her head, whispering, "Don't. It's too strong for your weapon." They stay perfectly still as the creature prowls around, sniffing the air. Lyra's heart pounds in her chest, but she forces herself to remain calm. She's learned how to avoid these beasts, understanding their habits and weaknesses. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, the creature loses interest and lumbers off, disappearing over a ridge. When it's safe, they both exhale in relief. Elias looks at Lyra with newfound respect. "You knew exactly what to do back there. You've been surviving here on your own." She nods, feeling a surge of pride she hasn't felt in years. "This place, it forces you to learn quickly, or you don't last long." Elias nods thoughtfully, a glint of admiration in his eyes. "Then I'm glad to have you on my side. We're going to need every bit of that knowledge to make it through this." They move cautiously through the rugged terrain, every step calculated. Lyra leads the way, guiding Elias around treacherous areas and pointing out edible plants and hidden water sources. He's impressed by her resourcefulness, realizing just how adaptable she's become. She, in turn, finds herself unexpectedly grateful for his company, feeling a sense of belonging she'd never experienced with her own people. As night falls, they settle into a small cave, shielded from the elements. They build a small fire, its warmth and light offering a brief respite from the darkness outside. Elias shares his rations with Lyra, who accepts the food gratefully, savoring each bite. As they sit in silence, Elias looks over at her, his expression serious. "Lyra, I don't know if there's a way off this planet, but if there is, I promise I'll help you find it. We'll find a way to survive. Together." His words resonate deeply with her. She's never known this kind of camaraderie, the idea of someone else caring about her survival. For the first time, she allows herself to hope that escape might be possible, that her exile might not be a death sentence after all. They stay awake long into the night, sharing stories of their worlds, their dreams and fears. In the flickering firelight, a fragile but undeniable bond forms between them, two souls united by their struggle against the hostile wilderness. And as dawn breaks, they both feel a renewed determination to face whatever dangers this world might throw at them, together. Morning arrives with an eerie silence, broken only by the faint hum of alien insects. The crimson sky above has taken on a softer hue, but the harsh landscape remains as unforgiving as ever. Lyra and Elias gather their belongings, preparing for another day of survival. Though the bond between them is grown, both are aware that this alliance is still fragile, tested by the dangers that lurk in every shadow. As they move deeper into the rocky terrain, Lyra senses a shift in the atmosphere. The ground beneath them seems to tremble ever so slightly, accompanied by a distant, rhythmic pounding that grows louder with each step. She motions for Elias to stop, her gaze fixed on the horizon, where dust is beginning to rise. "What is it?" Elias asks, his voice low. "Something big, something dangerous," she replies, her tone tense. She's encountered creatures on this planet of all shapes and sizes, but this feels different. More powerful, more organized. "We need to find cover." They hurry toward a nearby ravine, slipping between the tall rocks that offer a degree of camouflage. The ground trembles with increasing intensity, and soon they spot the source of the disturbance. A herd of massive creatures, their bodies armored with thick, segmented plates, lumbering across the plains in a steady march. Elias watches in awe, captivated by their sheer size and strength. Incredible. They're like walking fortresses. Lyra studies them carefully, noting their organized movement and the clear hierarchy within the herd. They're moving together for protection. There must be a larger predator nearby. Her suspicion is confirmed when a blood-curdling roar echoes across the plains. From the shadows of a nearby cliff, a monstrous creature emerges, easily twice the size of any member of the herd. Its scales gleam under the pale sunlight, and its eyes burn with a cold, predatory intelligence. The herd shifts in panic, their formation breaking as the predator lunges toward them, singling out the weakest members. Lyra and Elias watch, frozen in a mixture of terror and awe. The brutal efficiency of the hunt is a stark reminder of the law of survival on this planet. Only the strongest, or the smartest, endure. "Let's move while it's distracted," Lyra whispers urgently, tugging at Elias's arm. They edge away from the ravine, keeping low and quiet as they skirt the perimeter of the scene. Every muscle in Lyra's body is taut, her senses alert to any sign of danger. The thrill of survival pulses through her veins, an instinct honed by countless close encounters. They move in silence until the sounds of the hunt fade into the distance. Once they're a safe distance away, Elias releases a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. "I don't think I'll ever get used to this place." Lyra gives him a faint smile, a glimmer of shared understanding in her eyes. "You adapt, or you don't make it." They continue their journey, navigating the treacherous landscape with caution. Lyra leads them through a winding path that eventually opens up to a cliff overlooking a wide valley. From here, they can see the expanse of the alien world stretching out before them, a chaotic landscape of jagged rocks, sparse vegetation, and lurking shadows. Elias takes in the view, awe mingling with a sense of dread. "I don't know how you've survived here alone. It's relentless." Lyra shrugs, her gaze distant. "You do what you must. Survival is all that matters. My people taught me that even if they didn't believe I could live up to it." There's a hint of bitterness in her voice, a reminder of the pain of her abandonment. Elias studies her for a moment, understanding the silent strength beneath her reserved exterior. He realizes that her resilience isn't born out of physical strength, but rather an indomitable will to survive, a quality he deeply respects. As they descend into the valley, they come across a series of small crystalline pools scattered across the ground. The water shimmers with an iridescent glow, casting an otherworldly light over the area. Elias crouches beside one of the pools, reaching out to touch the water. "Wait," Lyra warns, grabbing his arm just in time. "The water here is toxic. I learned it the hard way." Elias withdraws his hand, nodding in gratitude. "Thanks. Guess I still have a lot to learn." They continue onward, avoiding the pools, when Elias spots a series of strange symbols etched into the rocks nearby. They appear deliberate, arranged in a way that suggests intelligence. He points them out to Lyra, who examines them with a furrowed brow. "These markings, they're not natural. Someone, or something, has been here before us." The realization is both thrilling and terrifying. If there were others here, where are they now? And did they leave these markings as warnings or as guides? The two of them follow the trail of symbols, hoping it will lead them to shelter or supplies. As they navigate deeper into the valley, they begin to notice remnants of technology scattered amidst the rocks. Broken pieces of metal, charred circuits, and fragments of alien devices, all half buried in the dirt. It's clear that this place has seen its share of visitors, but none appear to have survived long enough to leave. They reach a small alcove where the trail of symbols ends, and Lyra spots something embedded in the ground. She kneels, brushing away the dirt to reveal a small weathered device that fits in her palm. Its design is intricate, covered in symbols similar to those they'd seen on the rocks. Elias kneels beside her, inspecting it with curiosity. "What do you think it is?" Lyra turns the device over in her hands, studying it carefully. "Maybe a beacon or a transmitter. If we can get it working, it might lead us to answers, or even a way off this planet." Hope glimmers in Elias's eyes as he takes the device, examining it with growing interest. "I can try to repair it. My ship may have crashed, but I still have some tools that might come in handy." They return to their makeshift camp, and Elias begins working on the device, his fingers deftly navigating its complex circuitry. Lyra watches him, a spark of admiration in her gaze. She's witnessed his bravery and resilience, but now she sees his ingenuity, a quality her people often overlooked in favor of brute strength. As night falls, Elias finally sits back, a triumphant smile spreading across his face. "I think I've got it working." He presses a button, and the device hums to life, emitting a soft, pulsing light. The glow illuminates the small cave, casting shadows across the walls. For the first time since they'd met, they feel a tangible sense of progress, a possibility of escape. But as the device begins to pulse, a low growl echoes from outside their camp. Lyra's heart sinks as she realizes they've attracted unwanted attention. Gripping her makeshift weapon, she exchanges a grim look with Elias. "Whatever happens," he says quietly, "we face it together." As they prepare to confront the lurking threat, they both know that their journey is far from over, but with each other's strength and determination, they have a fighting chance. The low growl intensifies, reverberating through the cave and sending a chill down their spines. Lyra grits her weapon tightly, every instinct screaming at her to remain calm. She's faced the planet's creatures alone before, but this time feels different. She's no longer alone, and she's acutely aware that one mistake could put Elias in grave danger. Elias steadies himself beside her, his eyes scanning the darkness outside their shelter. The pulsing light of the device they'd just activated illuminates part of the cave, but outside, shadows dance unpredictably. The creature, whatever it is, seems to be circling, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. "Stay close," Lyra whispers, her voice barely audible. She can sense the creature's intent, its hunger, as if it's sizing them up. This planet's predators are nothing if not cunning, and she knows they need to outsmart it rather than rely on brute force. Suddenly, a shape lunges into the mouth of the cave, a beast covered in thick, spiked armor, its eyes gleaming with a cold, predatory light. Its jaws snap inches away from Lyra's face, and she pulls Elias back just in time. The creature thrashes, snarling and clawing as it tries to force its way into the narrow opening. Elias raises his sidearm, but Lyra stops him. It's armored. That won't work. He lowers his weapon, frustration evident in his expression, but he trusts her judgment. She scans the cave, her mind racing. The rocks above look unstable, likely loosened by years of erosion. With a quick decision, she whispers, "Follow my lead." She grabs a small rock and hurls it at the creature, striking it squarely on the snout. The beast roars in fury, rearing back, and Lyra uses the distraction to scramble up the side of the cave, positioning herself above the creature. She gestures for Elias to get into position, ready to push the rocks above. As the creature lunges again, Lyra braces herself. Now, together, they shove the rocks with all their strength. The boulders tumble down, crashing onto the creature and pinning it with a deafening crunch. Dust fills the air, and for a moment, all is silent. Then the beast lets out a final, defeated groan, its body still. Elias releases a breath, glancing at Lyra in awe. "You knew exactly what to do. How did you learn all this?" She gives a faint smile, her voice tinged with both pride and sadness. "I didn't have a choice. My people left me here to die. Learning how to survive was the only option." Elias nods, his expression softening. "Then they underestimated you. I'm glad you're on my side." The brief moment of calm is shattered as the device in Elias's hand emits a sharp, high-pitched beep. They both look down, startled. The beacon's pulse has changed, now signaling with a steady, insistent rhythm. It's as though the device is receiving something. A signal, perhaps. Elias studies the beacon with a look of concentration. "I think it's picking up something. There might be a structure nearby, or another signal source. If we follow it, we might find answers, or even a way off this planet." Lyra's heart races at the thought. The idea of escaping had always felt like a distant hope, something she barely allowed herself to believe. But now, with this new possibility, a fierce determination fills her. She nods at Elias, her voice steady. "Then let's go. We don't know how much time we have before more creatures arrive." They pack up their meager supplies and follow the beacon's signal, which guides them down a steep path and into a dense, fog-covered forest. The trees are massive, their twisted roots snaking through the ground like serpents. Strange sounds echo around them, adding an ominous edge to the already tense atmosphere. As they venture deeper, they notice more of the alien symbols etched into the trees and rocks. Some are worn and faded, while others appear freshly carved, as though someone, or something, has been here recently. Elias points out a particular symbol, one that seems to glow faintly in the dim light. "Whoever left these, they wanted us to find this place." Lyra studies the symbol, feeling an unexplainable pull toward it. It's almost as if the planet itself is guiding them, leading them toward a hidden truth. She's torn between curiosity and caution, but her trust in Elias gives her the strength to press forward. After what feels like hours of navigating the forest, they emerge into a clearing where a towering structure stands, half hidden by vines and overgrown vegetation. It's clearly ancient, its architecture foreign and mysterious. The walls are covered in the same symbols they'd seen along the way, and at its center, a faint blue light pulses in sync with the beacon in Elias's hand. "It's beautiful," he murmurs, awestruck. But Lyra's instincts remain alert. "We don't know what's inside. It could be dangerous." They approach the entrance cautiously, peering inside the dark hallway that stretches before them. The air feels charged with energy, a tangible hum that prickles their skin. Lyra glances at Elias, silently asking if he's ready. He nods, his resolve firm. They step inside, the darkness swallowing them whole as the outside world fades. The hallway leads to a massive chamber filled with strange machinery, towering columns, and glowing symbols that seem to dance along the walls. In the center of the room stands a large console, its surface covered in buttons and levers. Elias steps forward, examining the console with an intense focus. This could be a control center. If we can figure out how it works, we might be able to contact someone or even activate a portal. Lyra watches him work, her heart pounding with a mixture of hope and fear. She's come so far, endured so much, and the thought of finally escaping this place is almost overwhelming. But as Elias fiddles with the console, a new fear surfaces. What if their actions awaken something that should have remained dormant? Suddenly, a loud hum fills the room as the console springs to life. Lights flicker on, casting an eerie glow over the chamber. The walls shift, revealing hidden panels and symbols that pulse with a strange, rhythmic energy. Lyra's instincts scream at her that something is wrong, but before she can react, a deep, mechanical voice echoes through the chamber. Unauthorized access detected. Initiating lockdown. The doors slam shut behind them, sealing them inside. Elias curses under his breath, frantically pressing buttons on the console. But the voice continues, cold and unfeeling. Unauthorized entities will be neutralized. Panic floods Lyra as she looks around, searching for a way out. But Elias grabs her arm, his expression calm but determined. We're not done yet. We can figure this out. The floor beneath them begins to tremble, and from the shadows, metallic shapes start to emerge, ancient guardians, programmed to protect the secrets of this place. Their eyes glow with a menacing red light as they advance, their movements slow but relentless. Elias's mind races as he assesses the situation, and a plan starts to form. He spots a series of levers along the wall, each one marked with alien symbols similar to those on the console. He pulls Lyra toward them, shouting over the hum of the machinery. We have to deactivate the lockdown. Help me with these. Lyra doesn't hesitate, trusting him implicitly. Together, they pull the levers in sequence, following the patterns on the wall. The guardians slow, their movements becoming erratic as if they're being affected by the shutdown. With a final lever pull, the hum dies down, and the guardians freeze in place. The mechanical voice falls silent, and the lights dim, leaving them in a still, tense quiet. For a moment, neither of them speaks, their breaths heavy with relief and exhaustion. Elias breaks the silence, his voice soft but steady. I think we just found our way out. Lyra meets his gaze, gratitude and respect filling her eyes. They'd faced death, worked together, and survived. And now, with a way out within reach, she feels a new resolve. She's not leaving this place alone. Together, they would defy the odds, breaking free of this world's grip and returning to the stars. As they stand in the dim light of the ancient control room, the reality of their achievement sinks in. The Guardians are immobilized, the lockdown lifted, and before them lies a panel that Elias suspects holds the key to their escape. He studies it carefully, tracing the alien symbols with a finger, piecing together their meaning. This system, it's some kind of teleportation device, he says, his voice laced with awe and uncertainty. It could transport us off this planet, but I'm not sure where it leads. Lyra watches him intently, hope and fear battling within her. The thought of escaping is intoxicating, yet a nagging doubt lingers. She's survived in this hostile world for so long that leaving it feels both a relief and a risk. But as she meets Elias's determined gaze, her resolve hardens. She's not facing this journey alone anymore. Whatever awaits them on the other side, they'll face it together. They begin preparing the machine, following the sequence of symbols Elias has deciphered. As they work, the hum of the machinery grows louder, vibrating through the floor and walls. The energy in the air is almost palpable, as if the entire structure is awakening after eons of slumber. Just as they're about to activate the final sequence, a low rumble shakes the ground. Lyra glances nervously toward the entrance, sensing movement in the shadows beyond. Her heart skips a beat. Something else is here, something drawn by the energy they've unleashed. We need to hurry, she whispers urgently. Elias nods, quickening his pace. With a final button press, the teleportation device emits a bright, blinding light. The room is bathed in an otherworldly glow, and the console begins to hum with a steady, pulsing rhythm. They stand together in the center of the device, feeling the energy surround them. But just as the machine reaches its peak, a deafening roar echoes from the entrance. Lyra turns to see a massive creature, larger than any they've encountered, its body covered in spiked armor and eyes glowing with a fierce, primal intelligence. It's as if the planet itself has sent its ultimate guardian to prevent their escape. The creature charges, its footsteps shaking the floor. Lyra and Elias exchange a look. There's no way to fight something of this scale. Their only option is to activate the portal and hope it takes them far from this world. Elias reaches out, grabbing Lyra's hand. Together, he says, his voice steady despite the terror in his eyes. They press the final button, and the portal bursts to life, pulling them into a swirling vortex of light and sound. The creature lunges at them, its claws slicing through the air. But just as it reaches them, the portal closes with a flash, leaving the beast to roar in frustration as the ancient room falls silent once more. The world spins around them, colors and shapes blurring together as they hurtle through the portal. Lyra clings to Elias's hand, feeling as though she's being torn apart and remade all at once. Just as she thinks she can't endure another second, they're thrust into stillness. They land with a thud on cold, metallic ground, gasping as they try to catch their breath. Blinking against the harsh fluorescent lights, Lyra slowly sits up, taking in their surroundings. They're in what appears to be a large, sterile room filled with advanced technology and screens displaying data in a language she doesn't recognize. Elias looks around in awe, his eyes widening. This isn't my ship. It's something else, something far more advanced. Footsteps echo from a nearby hallway, and they turn to see a group of humanoid figures approaching. Their attire is sleek, futuristic, and their expressions are guarded but curious. One of them steps forward, a tall figure with a calm, commanding presence. "Welcome," the figure says in a voice that's both warm and authoritative. "We've been monitoring your signal. You've traveled a great distance." Lyra and Elias exchange a look, unsure of how to respond. The figure introduces themselves as Commander Tevin of the Galactic Alliance, an organization dedicated to exploring and protecting planets across the galaxy. They explain that they've been observing the hostile planet for some time, studying its life forms and the ancient technology hidden within it. "You activated one of the teleportation beacons," Tevin continues, nodding in approval. "It's remarkable you managed to survive there. Most who are stranded on that world don't last long." Lyra bristles at the reminder of her exile, but Elias places a comforting hand on her shoulder. "We only made it because we worked together," he says, meeting Tevin's gaze. "And now, we'd like to go home." Tevin's expression softens, and they nod. "Of course, we can assist with that. But first, we'd like to debrief you. The knowledge you've gained about that world is invaluable, and we'd like to understand your experiences." Though weary, Lyra and Elias agree, sharing their story with the commander and their team. They describe the brutal landscape, the predators, the ancient structures, and the technology they discovered. As they speak, Lyra realizes how far she's come, from an outcast left to die to a survivor with knowledge few others possess. When they finish, Tevin looks at them thoughtfully. "You've shown remarkable courage and resilience. The Alliance could use individuals like you, ones who know how to survive and adapt in the harshest conditions." Elias raises an eyebrow, intrigued. "Are you offering us a position?" Tevin smiles, nodding. "If you're willing. We could use explorers like you to help us understand worlds beyond the reach of most civilizations. Of course, you're free to decline. We can arrange transportation back to your respective home planets." Lyra feels a surge of conflicting emotions. The thought of returning home, to the people who abandoned her, fills her with unease. Yet the idea of exploring new worlds, of continuing this journey with Elias by her side, awakens a sense of purpose she never felt before. She glances at Elias, who gives her a reassuring nod. Wherever you go, I'll be there. We've come this far. Why stop now? After a moment's consideration, Lyra turns to Tevin, her voice steady. We'll stay. Show us what's out there. Tevin's smile widens. Then welcome to the Galactic Alliance. Months pass, and Lyra and Elias quickly find their place within the Alliance. They're given advanced training, learning to pilot new ships, navigate alien terrains, and handle advanced technology. Together, they venture into unexplored regions, facing new challenges and discovering worlds more bizarre and beautiful than anything they'd ever imagined. Their bond deepens with each mission, forged in the fires of survival and tempered by the respect they share for one another's strengths. Lyra, once cast aside as weak, becomes one of the Alliance's most skilled navigators, her experiences on the monster-filled planet giving her a unique understanding of hostile environments. Elias, with his ingenuity and compassion, earns a reputation as a fearless explorer and a natural leader. On one of their missions, they're sent to a world on the edge of the galaxy, rumored to be as dangerous as the one they first escaped. As they prepare to disembark, Elias turns to Lyra, his eyes shining with excitement. Ready for another adventure? Lyra smiles, her heart swelling with a feeling she's still learning to recognize. Happiness. Always. They step onto the alien terrain together, side by side, ready to face whatever lies ahead. For Lyra, this journey has been one of transformation, from a life of rejection and fear to a path of discovery and belonging. She's found a new family, a purpose, and a partner who sees her not as weak, but as resilient, resourceful, and courageous. And as they explore this new world, she knows that their story is far from over. Together, they'll continue to write it, one adventure at a time, forever exploring the boundless universe that stretches before them. Years pass, and Lyra and Elias become legendary figures within the Galactic Alliance. Their reputation for bravery and ingenuity precedes them, and they are often the first called upon when the Alliance encounters a world too dangerous or a mission too daunting for others. Together, they forge paths through uncharted galaxies, encountering civilizations, cultures, and creatures unlike any they'd ever imagined. Their bond grows deeper with each adventure, shaped by the trust and loyalty they've built over countless missions. Lyra, once labeled weak by her own people, now stands as a symbol of resilience and adaptability, embodying the strength that transcends physical prowess. Her journey from outcast to hero has given her a profound sense of purpose, and she relishes every opportunity to push the limits of her abilities alongside Elias. Elias, too, has evolved. His compassion and resourcefulness have made him a natural leader, and he thrives in the vast unknown, using his curiosity and strategic mind to navigate the Alliance's most complex challenges. His partnership with Lyra is a source of strength, a reminder that, no matter how far he travels, he'll never face the universe alone. One day, the Alliance assigns them a mission that brings a wave of unexpected emotions. They are to investigate reports of disturbances on Lyra's home planet. The idea of returning fills her with both excitement and trepidation. She left her people under dire circumstances, abandoned for her perceived weakness, and she's uncertain of the reception that awaits her. Elias senses her hesitation as they prepare for the journey, and he places a reassuring hand on her shoulder. You don't have to go if you're not ready. We can ask for a reassignment. Lyra shakes her head, determination flaring in her eyes. No, I want to go. I need to face them, to show them what I've become. And maybe they need our help. Together, they set a course for her home planet. The journey is a reminder of how far she's come, and as the ship descends into the familiar atmosphere, Lyra feels a mixture of pride and resolve. She's no longer the fragile outcast. She's a warrior, a survivor, and a defender of worlds. When they arrive, they discover that the planet is in turmoil. Natural disasters have ravaged the land, and the people are struggling to survive. Lyra's heart aches at the sight, but she quickly shifts into action, coordinating with Elias to deliver aid, repair damaged infrastructure, and share knowledge on survival and resilience. Her people, who once cast her aside, watch in awe as she leads with strength and compassion. In time, they recognize her for what she truly is, a hero who, despite being abandoned, returned to help those who had wronged her. Her presence ignites a transformation within her people, teaching them that strength comes in many forms and that unity, compassion, and resilience are more powerful than any physical prowess. Elias stands beside her, proud of the impact she's making. He's known her strength since the day they met, and now the world that abandoned her is seeing it too. Together, they leave an indelible mark on the planet, one that will be remembered for generations. As they depart from her home world, Lyra feels a profound sense of closure. She's no longer bound by the pain of her past. She's free, and she's found her place among the stars, alongside the only person who truly understands her journey. In the years that follow, Lyra and Elias continue their work with the Galactic Alliance, blazing trails across the galaxy. Their legacy grows, inspiring others to look beyond appearances and value the strength that lies within. Their story becomes a testament to the power of resilience, the value of companionship, and the boundless possibilities that await those who dare to explore the unknown. And as they set out on yet another mission, side by side, they know that their journey will never truly end. Together, they will continue to face whatever challenges the universe holds, forever bound by a friendship, and perhaps even a love, that transcends the stars. In a galaxy filled with mysteries and dangers, Lyra and Elias have proven that even in the darkest corners of the universe, there is light, hope, and the power to create one's own destiny. For them, the adventures will never stop, and the story will always continue as they chart new paths across an endless sky.